Hello guys, welcome back to Game Development Tutorials. Today we will be starting on the enemies, but we will also be learning how to use Unity's particle effects. So first let's just start with the simple things with the particle effects. Okay, so today we are not going to make our own, but in the future we will. Because there's this really neat particle effect. If we just go to the Asset Store tab, and yet again, we can get to this if it's not here by clicking on Window and then Asset Store. Then it will open up this tab, and let's just search for standard assets. And this is a tool that Unity made. So we can it's this tool right here, so we can just click on this. And it will open. Then you will see that they updated it. It used to be 2017.3, but since almost nobody uses that, they updated it. So now it's 2018.4, and right now we are using 2018.4. So you can just press download. I've already done it, so it's imported. I'm just gonna hurt that. Never mind. And then once it finishes downloading, it will give you the import button, and you can just click that. It will give this loading area. Then it will give you this huge screen. Don't worry, we're not using all of this. So let's just collapse the sample assets by hitting this down arrow next to it. Then we can just uncheck that because we do not want that. We can uncheck 2D. We do not want any of this stuff. We can uncheck cameras, characters, cross-platform input. That's for like controllers and stuff. Editor, we do not need that. I believe it's under effects, so I'm just gonna uncheck glass refraction, image effects, light light flares, projectors. You know what? There's a little button on the bottom that says none. I'm just gonna click that. Okay, now I'm just gonna keep scrolling down until I see a tab saying particle effects or systems. Here we go. So we can just click on that, then we can just hit import. Then it will just import the package into Unity. You will get these two errors, but we don't really need this script at all, so we can just delete the script. You can do that by right-clicking on it and just pressing delete. Then delete. We do not need that script in any way. And the errors are all gone. Okay. Now we can just close this scripts tab. We do not need these guidelines. You can keep them if you want. I'm gonna keep them just in case. So now let's actually make the particle system. So we can go back into the scene tab, and then under our project panel, under standard assets, particle systems, and prefabs, if we just open that folder up with the down arrow, we can just drag this afterburner prefab into the scene. Okay, it will look a bit weird at first, but no worries. Okay, so now if we just select the afterburner and rotate the y-axis by negative 180, it'll go backwards, and you can see how that sort of looks like a jet. So on the side panel or the inspector, you'll see all of these scary tabs. Don't worry, we will get to all of those, but most of them you won't even use. Okay, so at the bottom you'll see these two components, the sphere collider and the afterburner physics force. We do not want these at all. So I'll just right click on where it says Sphere Collider and then click on Remove Component. But first, we have to do it to the Afterburner. So let's right click on the Afterburner physics force script and just do remove. Then we can do the same thing with the Sphere Collider and just press remove. Okay. I'm just going to drag this to the front, so it's just like that. Now if we go to the game tab, you'll see that that looks pretty nice. Okay. So, I want this trail to be a little shorter. So if we open this Afterburner up, there is the actual Afterburner and then the glow. Before we do this, we just want to right click on the Afterburner and say unpack prefab completely. And this is to just turn it to revert it so it's not a prefab. Because when you are in a prefab form, like if we do this, if we just drag that back to scene and just delete the glow, it will not allow us to do that unless we open the prefab and delete it. But we do not want the glow to be gone for all of the effects. So that is why we revert its prefabism, I guess. Okay, so now we can just click on the glow. We do not want to delete it because it's actually pretty handy. But we do want to make it shorter. So we can do that by changing the lifetime. So these are the two random lifetimes. So the lifetime, it will randomly choose between 0.5 seconds and 0.75 seconds. So let's turn the min down to maybe 0.25 and the max down, or 0.75 to 0.35. 0.3. Then we can click on the Afterburner and let's turn the lifetime down to 1.75 or 0.175. Okay, I think I want the glow a little bit shorter because you can see it expands. You know what? That looks good. Okay, that looks pretty good. I do want it to be a bit brighter on the game window. So right now, when we press play, for one, it stays there, but it's not as bright. We will not make it move with the player yet. It's pretty easy, but I just want to talk to you about this first. So, if we go into the game, and why it's not playing is because let's go back into the scene, and we can just press play. And then we can select the glow, and it looks like that's already playing. Okay, so now we can select the actual Afterburner, and the reason why it's not that bright is because there's not that many particles right now. There's only 80, so I'm just going to crank that up to maybe 200, and as you can see, that immediately updates in real time, and you can see it getting really bright. I'm going to do the same thing with the glow, so if we just click on this emissions tab, I'm going to say 150. Perfect. Okay, let's just save that. Now to actually make it move with the player, this is extremely bright, wow. We can just drag the Afterburner into the player, just like that. And I'm just going to rename this Afterburner, Fire Effect. Then I'm just going to close down the player. And now, when we press play, and if we move, then it will actually follow along. And to make this look less stiff, we can go onto the Fire Effect. Let's just open that up. And you'll see in this main part, it will say simulation space. We just want to set that to world. And then we just want to do the same thing with the glow. So let's click on the glow. And in this main tab, under simulation space, we want to select world instead of local. So now, when we press play, there we go. The fire like actually moves like with the world. Pew 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 pew. And I also realized that some people do not usually like to click to shoot, but they like to press space. So in order to change that, we can double click on the player shoot script to open it up. Smoothie. Then it will open up in Visual Studio, and we can say if input.get mouse button down, or that's what the two slashes mean, or input.get key down, then two parentheses, then in those parentheses keycode dot space, and then we can highlight this and just do Control C, click right here, space, Control V, then space, Control V, but instead of getting the button down, we want get key up. Then we are missing the second parentheses, so let's just put those in. And now, should work with space key. Sorry that I went a little bit fast on that, I realize that now. But I just did that because you should know how to get inputs. It's pretty simple. So now if we press space, you'll do that, same with clicking. And if we just turn the fire rate up and hold space, it'll work exactly the same. Okay, good. This video is actually getting pretty long, so I think we will just leave it at that, and next time I promise you we will start with the enemies. Okay, bye guys, and see you in the next video. Bye.